Hey guys, I'm getting on here to talk about articulation. And basically what I'm going to do is answer some questions that you guys posted in the Facebook group, Woodwind Support Community. We just had a live with clarinet and sax articulation, questions answered, and now this is me answering your flute questions. So the first question I got, actually at first doesn't seem like an articulation question, but it totally is. So the question was, how do I get more consistent air when playing the flute, especially for the high register? And how this relates to articulation is we need to have that consistent, steady stream of air in order to have any sort of articulation to begin with. So let me explain how articulation works. Articulation on the flute is when we basically put our tongue, for me, unless you do like French tonguing, I put mine right behind my upper teeth, like where the gums meet your teeth. Doing that blocks the air for a split second. And when you release the tongue down, the air releases. So you need to make sure that you're having a steady stream of air going out of your mouth, regardless of the fact that you're tonguing. When you're tonguing, you're actually messing with your air because you're blocking it. So making sure that it's steady is super important. So here's an exercise to help with that. This is my favorite exercise to do. You're going to take your hand, put it on your nose. I say middle finger on your nose. Back it away from your face about like 7 or 8 inches. And you're going to blow with your flute embouchure. And first of all, this also helps correct embouchure issues too, but you want your air to kind of go in the center of your palm and then fill up your entire palm. So it's like the air is centered there, but it's filling up the entire palm. I like to say 5 to 10 birthday candles worth of air. So when you're blowing and you start to articulate, you want to make sure that you're getting that same stream of air, even though it's stopping, for a split second when you tongue. So try it out. So when I articulate, right before I release my tongue, I feel the air stop. So it's almost like if you feel that there's less coming out when you're articulating, then you need to actually use more support from your abdomen to push out the air. So thinking about that steady stream of air coming out, even when you're articulating, is going to fix a lot of problems. Okay, so the next question I got was, where do you put your tongue in your mouth for different octaves? So there's the low octave, the middle octave, the high octave, and obviously, they're all super different. Like playing a low D is a lot different than playing the high D or the middle D. So for all the different registers, yes, there is a slight difference in where you put your tongue. I would say for the higher register and for piccolo, you want your tongue to be forward. Just a little bit more forward. I wouldn't put it if you're putting it behind your teeth, I wouldn't start putting it, in between your teeth or something. Not that drastic. I'm talking a millimeter more forward, or just even thinking forward will make your tongue go slightly more forward. So more forward for high notes and a little further back for low notes. And there was also a question about, do I need to change where I put my tongue in my mouth to change tone color? Which is actually a very interesting question, because you can get different tone colors by tonguing in different spots of your mouth. For example, if I tongue more forward, it sounds, a little brighter. And if I tongue really far back, well, first of all, it's messing up my embouchure. It sounds a little bit more pale. So yes, you can technically do that. It's possible. but it's not what I would necessarily recommend, because I think that what you can do to change tone color is after you tongue, just move your tongue to a different place in your mouth. That's a whole other discussion for another time, tone colors. But articulation speaking, it's best to keep your tongue in the same spot. And maybe for high register, move it a little forward, and for low register, move it a little back. But I wouldn't do anything crazy, because what's gonna happen when you move your tongue to a new spot? Like really far back or really far forward. It's going to mess with your articulation. Where your jaw is, you might develop jaw problems. It's going to mess with your air, and it's going to create tension in your neck. So if you're pushing your tongue back to tongue, the tip of your tongue going further back in your mouth, you're actually creating tension there that you don't want. And it's going to ultimately mess with your sound more than it's going to help you with tone colors. So that's what I would say about that. Let me see. One other question I got briefly right before I hopped on this video recording was, the difference between double tonguing and single tonguing. So single tonguing on the flute is when you just say ta. I like to say taco is what I recommend for thinking about with tonguing. So ta is the single tonguing. It's right in front of your mouth. And most people can single tongue up to a speed of 120 beats per minute. So I'm talking 16th notes at 120. Yeah, so that's my fastest single tonguing. And double tonguing is the thing that flute players can do to go a lot faster than that. So for double tonguing, I would do taco, and the ko part of taco is the ka part of the double tongue. So basically, instead of doing ta 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 ta, you go taka 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 ta. So you could play a lot faster that way. Essentially, you could go double the speed of, how you go single tonguing. So that is my advice on articulation. If you guys have any other questions, please comment below. We're definitely looking at our Facebook group comments and YouTube to make sure that we answer your questions. And yeah, let me know. Have a great day.